I am such an awesome guy. I make so many videos.
Hello there, Price of Reason here with a series review. This week, HBO finally aired the final 2 episodes of Velma, a Scooby-Doo prequel series by Mindy Kaling, and what a finale it was. In episode 9, Velma's mom has amnesia and can't remember anything about her kidnapping. Now at the hospital, after a joke about fake Shaggy's father's skin color, Velma decides that for the next 72 hours, she will try to jog her mom's memory so that she could identify the killer. In order to make her mom feel at ease, Velma restores her family's house to look like it did a few years earlier. Velma also temporarily kicks out her father's mistress and their baby so that her mom doesn't know about their affair. Daphne comes over to talk about her feelings for Velma. Again. And then she tells her that they should go together to the Hot Girls Brains welcome home party. In school, the Hot Girls Brains are more popular than ever since their return, but they're upset at Daphne because she initially wanted to leave them in a cave. The Brains are also upset at Fred because he was unfaithful to them, so he's no longer popular in their eyes either. As a result, they decide to make both Daphne and Fred unpopular in the school by having them sit next to a garbage can. They also humiliate Fred, who gets covered and then stung by bees. Velma's father's mistress comes over with her baby, and Velma lies to her mom and tells her that it's actually her baby with fake Shaggy. Daphne stops by and tells Velma that the Hot Girls Brains uninvited them from the party, but after learning that Velma is in a fake relationship with fake Shaggy, this gives Daphne an idea too. If she and Fred pretended to be in a relationship, it would make them popular again, just like J-Lo and Ben Affleck. Even Fred's mother, who once again acts like a privileged Caucasian istinophobe, thinks that this is a good idea. After Fred tells his mom that Daphne is poor compared to them, his mom says that she wishes that he were actually more like Daphne, since he himself is so dumb and useless. Fred and Daphne go to school and pretend to be a couple, and the plan works perfectly. Everybody thinks they're cool again, and they get re-invited to the Hot Girls Brains party. There's also a running gag how Velma hates the baby, and the baby seems to be in danger all the time. I guess this is supposed to be funny or something. Velma's mom suddenly has a vision about seeing the killer in a welding mask. Velma then finds out that fake Shaggy's father has a welding mask, just like the killer, so she alerts the police, but it turns out to be a mistake. Daphne wants to end the charade of being in a relationship with Fred so that she could officially be with Velma in public. She's also annoyed with Fred because he's an istinophobe, and then he reacts by acting like an istinophobe. Fred's mother tells Daphne that she agrees with Fred and that they should continue the charade further. Then, out of left field without directly naming them, Fred's mom seemingly takes a dig at Chick-fil-A for supposedly being intolerant towards alphabet people. I guess that's supposed to be another, joke or something. In what seems to be a rare bonding moment, Fred's mom tells Daphne that she's impressed with her and she'd like her to intern for their family business of luxury goods for men. Fred's istinophobe father, who is spying on them, hears this conversation but seems unhappy. Fake Shaggy is upset after Velma falsely accuses his father of murder, and he no longer wants to be her friend anymore. The baby once again rolls into traffic right into the Hot Girls Brains party, which is taking place at the diner where Velma's father's mistress works. Fred and Daphne are pressured into kissing in order to prove that they're not a fake couple. Velma arrives and sees this, which upsets her. Then Velma's mother and father arrive too. It's at this moment that Velma's mother realizes that Velma's father got his mistress pregnant after she disappeared. She doesn't seem to mind though, because she's always felt that her marriage was unfulfilling anyways. In fact, this feeling of relief actually jogs her memory, and now she believes she herself is the actual killer. In episode 10, this show finally ties together its murdering mystery story. The police then auctions off her unpainted mystery machine van. Fake Shaggy seems to rub it in now that Velma's mother is apparently the serial killer and not his father. Daphne sticks up for her, but Velma is mad because she kissed Fred at the party, so Daphne beats her up. Velma's mom then claims that she killed the girls because she was just trying to replace her daughter's brain with a popular girl's brain. Velma thinks that this is fishy and wants to question her mom herself, but the sheriff won't allow it. Daphne's police officer mother-lover partners tell Velma that the only way she can get close enough to her mother's cell is if she herself is arrested. Meanwhile, back at Fred's family's luxury goods empire, Fred's mom explains that it's not Fred's father, but rather her that built this empire herself, because of course she did. Fred's mom then sprays Daphne with their company's latest perfume and tells her that if she sticks with Fred, she has a future at their business. Fred goes into a rage because his mother doesn't believe in him. He then shows Velma that he painted the mystery machine van with flowers as part of a marketing strategy to appeal to teens. Then there's some type of, joke about vans, kids, and fashion, but it would probably be best if I didn't repeat it here. Anyhow, Velma convinces Fred that if he tells the police that he, a Caucasian male, is being bothered by Velma, a diverse woman, they will arrest Velma with no questions asked. Indeed, this plan works and Velma is arrested by the middle-aged male sheriff who is an istinophobe. Daphne then finds an apology note and necklace from her birth mother that could possibly help her solve the murder mystery. Velma finally gets put in a cell with her mom and realizes she isn't really the killer, but rather she was just brainwashed into saying that she's the killer. Daphne shows up in Velma's cell with the necklace from the locker that also has a watch on it. This causes Velma to remember that the serial killer not only hypnotized her mom, but he also hypnotized her. The watch has the name Harry Meeting written in it, and that was the name of the middle-aged Caucasian army general that wanted to hypnotize people into serving in the army. The same army general that made Dr. Edna Purdue replace people's brains. Daphne talks with Velma about her feelings for her. Again, when she's interrupted by a call from Fred's mom telling her that he's been arrested for trying to lure teens into his van. Daphne then sprays Velma with the perfume Fred's mom gave her and leaves. As Daphne leaves in Fred's family limo, Fred's father is lurking in the shadows. Velma then goes to the girls' showers in another strange and pervy teen shower scene. Velma asks the girls and Brains if they recognize the necklace. While they don't recognize it, Gigi tells Velma that because of her behavior, fake Shaggy is transferring to another school. This causes Velma to listen to a ton of voicemails he's left her over the years, and now she feels bad. In addition, he mentions her glasses in one of his messages, and she finally realizes that the glasses were actually made by Fred's family's company. This is actually the final clue that Velma needs in order to crack the case wide open. So she goes to Fred's house, where both Fred and Daphne are tied to operation tables. The killer shows up, Velma sprays him with the perfume, and this causes him to get attacked by bats because they're attracted to this smell. The bats also attack Fred's private parts, but because he's pervy, he finds it enjoyable. Anyhow, it turns out that the killer was actually Fred's mom. Also, Fred's mom's father was actually the evil Caucasian male army general that hypnotized people into serving their country. Apparently, Dr. Edna Purdue initially helped him with his evil scheme to swap people's brains, but then he took all of the credit for her work, so she undid the swap. He then had her institutionalized so that she gives him her research files, but she wouldn't crack, so his military career was over, and he lost everything. It was at this point that Fred's mom decided to marry Fred's dad and turn his failing business into an empire. Now, she couldn't stand the thought of having a son that was such an incompetent male idiot, so she wanted to replace his brain with a more competent female one. Because apparently, only females are ambitious enough to fill her shoes or something. Initially, she thought that Daphne would be a good choice, but now she's sorry she didn't choose Velma because Velma is the smartest. Fred's father, now hypnotized, shows up with a gun and ties Velma to the operating table. At this point, Fred's mom explains to Velma that if her brain was inside Fred's body, she would love it because being a Caucasian male would give her so much privilege and opportunity. Then, Velma, in an attempt to get Fred angry, tells him what a privileged Caucasian male he is and how his life is so easy compared to hers. Fred then goes into his usual rage, breaks free from the operation table, and punches his father, just as his mom gets away. Velma tells him that although she actually said bad things about him in order for him to get upset, she actually believes that the things that she said to him were true. He isn't mad at her though, and he goes to stop his mom. Initially, Fred corners his mother, but then she fools him and takes his gun away from him because he's an idiot. Daphne then tells Velma that she loves her, and then they kiss. Velma accidentally tells her that she loves fake Shaggy, which upsets Daphne. Fake Shaggy arrives and tells Velma that he loves her too, and then he kills Fred's mom. Fake Shaggy then feels bad and vomits from the experience of killing Fred's mom. Velma, on the other hand, is very happy though, so she twerks. Then the mayor gives them all keys to the city, but they all start to bicker about their issues with each other. Velma goes home to watch movies with her mom after locking her dad and mistress outside. Fake Shaggy has trauma after killing Fred's mom, so his father offers him weed. Daphne gets a strange and evil letter. Fred starts his own spooky stuff business. Velma then gives all the evidence she has to the sheriff, who tells her that she's almost as good as a man. In a post-credits scene, the sheriff goes down to the basement and apparently gets killed. I guess this is supposed to be some type of cliffhanger teasing a second season or something. Well, that was the plot. Now let's go over the show's propaganda and messaging. For starters, as usual, almost all the straight Caucasian males on this show are terrible. Fred, his father, the sheriff, they're either in positions of authority which they abuse, have too much privilege, are intolerant ists and phobes, or all of the above. The only straight Caucasian male that's not always shown in a negative light is fake Shaggy's father, but that's only because he's a weak, submissive, and incompetent beta male. Straight Caucasian women are also shown in a negative light on this show, but slightly less than most of the male characters. For example, while Fred's mother is the killer, her motive is that her husband and son are male buffoons, and only she alone is responsible for their success, even though she doesn't get any of the credit for it. Basically, she's a successful woman in a man's world that's always being overlooked, and she's bitter too. Dr. Edna Perdue is more, diverse, so her character gets much better treatment. While Perdue was involved in doing something bad initially, she ultimately redeems herself and just ends up being a victim of toxic masculinity too. After a middle-aged Caucasian toxic male army general takes all the credit for her work, she reverses the bad deed that they did together and hides her research files. By never cracking under his pressure even after the general institutionalizes her, she ultimately redeems herself as a strong, smart, competent woman with great character. Similarly, Daphne's more, diverse birth mother, who is a criminal and abandons her as a child, gets a chance to redeem herself by giving Daphne an apology note and the necklace that helps lead to the killer. Daphne's birth father isn't so lucky though. He's still scum, of course. Daphne's adopted parents, who are part of the alphabet community, are always shown in a positive light, which is probably another agenda-driven decision because nobody in that category could ever do anything bad, I guess. This overall policy also seems to apply to the teens on this show. All the more diverse teens are more redeemable, while anybody that's not diverse is pretty much awful. Especially Fred, who's a dumb, incompetent, ist and a phobe, no matter what. The only two characters on this show that somewhat break the overall agenda mold are Velma's father and his mistress, which are always shown in a pretty negative light, but I suspect that it may have something to do with Mindy Kaling's own personal issues. All in all, though, this show basically does what most Hollywood productions do these days. Bash anybody who isn't considered diverse, and hate on men in general, unless they're submissive betas. The good thing about this show is that its agenda is so extreme that it can't even really pretend to hide it. Perhaps that's why it's so universally disliked, even by normies, because even they can't live in denial anymore. That's why I'm hoping that this show gets many more seasons, even though it's a mean-spirited, hateful, spiteful, poorly written abomination of a show. Its creators' intentions couldn't be clearer than this, and once things are out in the open this way, they can't really be denied anymore. So in that sense, thank you, Mindy Kaling. What did you think about Velma episodes 9 and 10? Did you love them? Feel free to let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to my channel and also clicking on that wonderful notification bell. Thanks for watching, my friends. Thank you, and good day.
I am such an awesome guy. I make so many